Good evening and welcome to the next pellet review on the table, which is going to feature these Webley VMX Pells. They're a maximum performance caliber and 1.77 caliber, sorry, a maximum performance pellet in 177 caliber, and 8.18 grain. You can see there just next to them two pictures of the pellet to give you representation. They say they're an aerodome head and you get 500 of them. VMX stands for Value Max, and at this point I'm going to come away completely from this review and go back to the last one and come to this target. Now what this target's about, now we notice it was shot the same day as the other one on the same rifle at the same mag. I was tracked down and I was given, I was challenged, I will say, on the way I'd reviewed them. So it's caused me to have another rethink. Because this was shot in the day, I'm going to take this one as a valid target. It's not in the standard format of what they're going to be, but the format is now going to be, I'll clean out the barrel on this one, I'm then going to shoot 10 onto this one, 10 onto this one, and then 10 onto one of these two. I'm going to add them together from the centre to centre points, the measurements. You'll still get to see that and see the ruler against it, the good old Oxford Helix. And then divide them by 3 to give you an arithmetical mean, and that'll be used as the grouping score, so the delivery score. This target, like I said, it is valid. It was witnessed anyway. The guy saw me shoot all 3 of them, and then he just basically didn't even want to challenge me. But you know, he didn't want to get into competition. So I'm going to say that's 8mm. I don't think you can really, say it's not. And that takes its score still to 144. But it takes the mean grouping for the day states over to 8.2mm as an average group. So back to the VMXs, that's that done. You got to keep everybody happy, haven't you, at the end of the day? Because you're the people who watch it, and it should be informative for yourselves. I'm not bothered. So there we go. That's that done. But that's going to be the format we use, and it'll be the format we use. So yeah, it's quite a nicely coloured tin, these VMXs. VMX standing for, as I said before, Value Max. These have been on the shelves now for about 2 years, I think, or close to 2 years. They're made in Germany with bespoke tooling when they first came out. So that tooling will be 2 years old, so it should still be okay. I mean, I don't see any real issues with it. Which makes things a bit mystifying when I get further into this review and we start looking at spreads and the quality side of the pellet. So value wise, they retail between, I've not seen them cheaper than £4.50, but apparently you can get them for £3.99. I just haven't found them yet. But they retail between £4.50 up to £6. This tin here I paid £5.99 for, but I needed to weigh them to finish off the review. I'd already measured the previous tin. I already had some targets I'd printed anyway, but I'm not going to use them. So let's look inside the tin. Pop tin, distinct lack of a makeup pad. I nearly said the wrong pad there. Inside the tin, they're quite clean. You might be able to make out some split lines like on this one here. Split lines aren't too bad from the moulding process. When they get dyed. If you look on the rear of some of these ones here, so if you look on these ones, you can see they're they're not exactly a smooth surface, are they, in comparison to the rest of it? And this is actually the coating. Now, I can't get in there and scrape it off. We can actually scrape that off on your thumb, and it is just coating. That's all it is. Underneath there, the pellet is perfectly smooth, which sort of makes me wonder how they do that, how they actually coat them. It looks to me like they stand them all up like little soldiers and then just spray them over the top, or they get dunked. I can't imagine they get dunked. I mean, they're quite a heavy pellet, light pellet. So, but that's what I noticed anyway. When I got to the bottom of my first tin, I did notice that these were quite a mess. Inside, you do get quite a few damaged ones. I had one with the tail half nibbled away. I had another one where it was pretty much dinged in. Again, this comes down to not having a makeup pad in there half the time. So it's worth getting a bit of tissue in there. With it being a pop tin as well, probably worth getting a rubber band or one of them little pellet pack, the things that you get, the little pellet holders. But the whole tail thing on the quality side of things is a big thing for me, because if you're out with a lamp, you've just got a little pellet holder around your neck, and you pick one out and it's one of them, you could quite easily cause that animal a bit of grief by not hitting it cleanly, which when these are said they're a general plinking and hunting target use. Well, there is no such thing as general hunting. At the end of the day, you've got a responsibility to do the damage as cleanly and efficiently as possible. These pellets, you know, if they're damaged, they can quite easily wander off and maim. You know, the last thing you want is to skulk off down the hole and you know, well, die quietly amongst its family. Nobody really wants to see a member of the family die. Slowly anyway. So let's have a look at these a bit closer up. This usually focuses. It's not gonna, so we'll have to. Let's just go in there. I think I'll give it a quick one anyway. So these are the actual pellets in a bit closer detail. Yes, they're against a drawing. I'll show you that in a minute. It's just a hand sketch. It's nothing special. Bit of an art attack moment. So as you can see, it's quite a flat head. Now the design of these was supposed to be a mix between a wad cutter and an aerodome, and they are classed as aerodome heads, but I would say they're what do I call them? I call them aero wads, because they're kind of like an aerodynamic wad cutter. They punch the hole quite cleanly. They hit the target. I mean, I have hit quarry in the early days when I first see. I got a tin of these with my Walther, basically my rifle, my Century. And initially I went out hunting, probably a bit too early without knowing exactly what the pellet was going to do. Bit of a bad choice by me, but it paid off. It hit both of them cleanly, and it did hit home, and they were well under 20 yards. So, you know, accuracy wise, these things tend to wander off and finding after 20 yards, but I'll go into that in a minute. They hit like hammers. They really do, and they're quite good in that respect. The actual design of them, as you can see, is Diablo. But then what I mean by design is if I can just rock this one over into the light a bit, you can see there, so it's got like a traffic cone insert. They're quite hard to see inside these ones. So what I did is I drew this sort of like cutaway for you to have a look at there before we go into definition. So in comparison against the day state, which I just wanted to clear up on the bias. So what I mean by bias is, where does the solid piece of lead, the head of the lead, stop? Is it, you know, 0%, or is it 25% along the length of the pellet, 50%? So when I talk about bias, that's what I mean basically. When does the solid piece of lead stop being a solid piece of lead and become like a wall? You know, on these ones it's down to about 40%. I really did draw that a long way off, didn't I? And you can see that traffic cone style thingy. I'm not going to do this for every one, just if I see something interesting I'll compare it to the current leader, which in this case is just day states. You can see there they've got a larger radius for the aero wad. It's further set back as well as a result. So yeah, I hope that sort of thing helps things. I did a squish test on one of these in the past video that I actually deleted, and that's it there. This hurt my hand doing this. It really, literally, it was cutting into my fingers. It's really hard lead. I know lead's, you know, probably supposed to be soft, but you know, you do get different gradings. I don't do Webster testing or Rockwell or Brunel hardness or anything like that. I just quite simply squish it between my fingers. And I have had pellets where the head has deformed as well, you know. And I hope I never get to review some of them, but at one point I'm probably going to have to. So that's pretty much it. Quality wise, when I measured these, they varied quite a bit. You know, you're talking the spread. So let's have a quick look at that on the thing. So you can see here, I got told off of the wife, so I'm putting this. Just ignore that because she'll go mental at me. Height, bore, skirt, and weight. You know, you can see here. I mean, the weight itself. What was the average of the, or the mean of the weight? The average of the weight comes out at 7.98. So nowhere near really the 1.8. And interesting, the pellet that had the damaged tail was the one that scored the highest at 8.16 grains. You know, variation wise. So anyway, moving on. The spread between the height of the pellet is 0.39 or 0.4 mil, 0.1 for the diameter of the head, or the bore as I call it, and then the skirt length, so the part where the head ends and the skirt starts, and you've got the full length of the skirt down to the tip, is 0.65, so you get quite a bit of variation there on that one. Again, forget all this. So let's go on to the target now and see how it looks on delivery. Again, you can see there, this is when I shot this just a few days ago. Bearing in mind it's the 21st tonight. Yeah, VMX Pells on the old Hawk. So like I said, this is the cleaning pellet, so cleaning there. I haven't re-zeroed or recalibrated the scope, I'm not using any Kentucky windage here or anything like that. So there you go, there's your first one, and we said that's 24mm, and I think you'll agree it pretty much is. The next one, now I keep thinking I was having a bad day, but I was literally watching these things past 20 yards. These things were just zipping all over the place. You could literally, it was like get to the 20-yard marker on the, or the 20-yard spinner, and so 44.5 I've measured on that one. Yeah, turn left at the 20-yard spinner is ultimately what I was saying, or turn right, or any direction that you want to take. Was not particularly impressed, and then 49 for this one, as you can see there. So the arithmetical mean of that one comes to 39.2. We can come back over now to the screens. As you can see, the Daystate Sovereign just updated the score there to include the 8.2 millimeters. So as you can see, I didn't mean that. That's not the thing I was meaning to use. It's just representation. 9.5 plus 8 plus 7 divided by 3. There you go. And that comes, it doesn't change a thing. It just brings that down from what, 9.5 I think it was, down to 8.2. So yeah, you gain about 1 millimeter and a quarter there. Back onto the VMXs. So like I said, I call these narrow wad, 8.18 grain. Yeah, well, really you're around about 8 grains. The reality, the mean that you expect to get. It never ever does that. It jumps over at work, but when you need it not to, it does do it. I'm aware that I'm waffling, by the way. So like I said, we've covered the spread and the weight, which gives it a quality score when you add all them together of 1.47. The cost score, the average or the mean of the ones that I actually checked was 5.26. Move that out of the way, and you can see there the prices: $4.79, $5.99 and $4.99. It's hard to include that $5.99 when everywhere else was sub £5, but that's what I paid for it, and it's not really fair to myself if I don't put that in there. Yeah, like I said, the quality score, you get 510, you get your quality score there, 1.47. Delivery score 39.2 millimeters, which gives it an overall score of 18. How does that sit on the leaderboard? Well, as you can imagine, considering where we are, so you can see where it groups into there, and it's a bit harsh this, because it 5.2, 26 pence just is the difference between it scoring a 4 and a 5, and it needed that desperately. So ultimately what we've got here is a Webley VMX Pellet, and that is thrown into the same quality and cost region as the Daystate Rangemaster Sovereign, and it needs to be able to perform like that, like one of them pellets, in both quality and delivery. And as you can see, in quality we've got a big difference, to the point where we're very nearly scoring a 1. I mean, it's been, whereas it's been unlucky here, it's been very lucky here. So we've got ultimately a 3 times a 3 times a 2 times a 1, which gives it your 18. So I'll just let you, well, you won't see it because it'll just come up in there as reference in the other sheet, but you can do the math on that yourself. You know, you can do it now. I'll just quickly repeat that: 3 times a 3 times a 2 times a 1. I'll give you a score of 18. So let's go back to the tin and on the lid there. Now, I've seen magazine reviews of these where they really do rate them. Well, not from my testing. Like I said, my testing, I was literally watching these things turn a different direction at 20 yards. Not that impressed. But, you know, try them in your rifle if you want. You know, if you get them for free or you get a chance to trial them, you never know. They may group fantastically and never give you a headache. Personally, this is about as far as I go. This tin will just be kept in the box just in case I go down the range and somebody's forgotten them. You know, I'll just sell them a load, give them away. Maybe, I don't know. It's a bit harsh. I'm always a bit harsh on Webley products, because I just expect them to be a bit better for some reason. But at the same time, I've always got this thing that, you know, it's what the teenagers get their hands on, and brings everything down. But anyway, yeah, sorry I can't be a bit more positive on these, but based on the data that I've got, they ain't what they're saying that they are on the tin. They ain't maximum performance, especially not when you consider the cost of what they're going up against. I hope you find this review useful. As always, feel free to comment, don't troll, although I seem to be trolling Webley at the minute. As always, stay safe, shoot straight, and hopefully I'll see you at the next review. Thanks, bye.